Okay, last day I could not complete unit 2 because of the network issue. So let me finish my unit 2 first, then we will discuss unit 3. Huh? Yes, we are discussing about the Lindell model. So we are just here now, as much as I remember. So here what is the assumption that there are two individuals A and B who are consuming two commodities. One is a private good and another is a public good. The name of the public good is G and the private good which is consumed by the individual A is X, and for individual B it is Y. Okay, so one private good, one public good. Okay. The total income is R. So RA is the income of individual A and RB is the income of individual, RA is the income of individual A and RB is the income of individual B. Okay. So this is the income constraint, you can say, for individual A, X, where we are assuming price of the private good is just one, and H is the share, the expenditure share of for the public good by individual A. Okay, so 1 minus H is the share for individual B. So from here we are getting these things, and finally we are here. So here, what is the diagram? Let me go to the diagram. So on this is step a box diagram. So this is the origin of individual A and this is the origin of individual B. Okay, so the social good is measured from left to right, and for individual A, uh, the percentage share of the cost of individual A is willing to be. There is the willingness to pay. Okay, the percentage of the willingness to pay for individual A. This is measured from the origin of individual A like this, and for individual B it is from the origin of individual B to downward. Okay, so this is the set. Now when the amount of the social good is increasing, so the percentage willingness to bear for individual A, it will fall, right? So that is why this is the curve for individual A, it is downward sloping. So when the amount of the social good available for individual A is increasing, then the percentage share of the cost, that is the willingness, is just like the marginal cost situation, right? So the willingness to pay by individual A, it will fall, and that is why it is downward sloping. Now whatever consumed by individual A, 100 minus that much is left for individual B, right? So for individual, for example, if individual A is consuming AB, so 100 minus AB is for individual B. Okay, so like this we are getting the line of individual B. Fine. So their willingness to pay, where their willingness to pay are intersecting each other, that is at the point A, if that is the optimum point. Okay, so that is the optimum point. At this optimum point, whatever left by individual A is consumed by individual B. Okay, so both are happy like this. So this is the optimum amount of the social good which should be supplied by the government, and for this much, look, the 50%, around 50% is for individual A. So the less, the 100 minus 50%, that is another 50% is for individual B. So this is how the tax share is distributed. Okay, so this is all about the Lindell model. So what is the new about the Lindell model? Actually, before Lindell model, we have discussed that for a single product, that there is one individual and there is one product, like one public good and one private good, and how it will be there. But how much to be paid for the availability of the public good, it is not discussed yet. No? how the amount of the how much public good will be given to this person or that person, that was discussed. But for the given amount of the public good, how much to be spent by the individual, that is by the consumer, it is not discussed yet. And here two individuals optimum level of cost sharing, or you can say the tax, is measured through the Lindell model. So this is the beauty of the Lindell model. Okay. So this is the unit 1. Now unit 2. Now I am going to unit 3. Okay. So unit 3 is something related with the revenue and expenditure of the government. That is the hardcore public finance. Okay. So actually the public finance is this. So here we are discussing that public finance in this way. Okay. So what are the canons of taxation? That means when the tax is imposed by the government, which properties should be there behind this tax imposition. Okay, which should be in mind of the government when he is going to impose any tax. Okay, so these are there, and I'm not going to that bullet because I can discuss it in details if I will open this part, the canons of taxation. So here, canons of taxation means, as I said, that what property should be there for any successful tax structure. First of all, tax is always bad for the consumer. Consumer dislike it, right? Because it's a burden. Any type of tax, any time, any type, any percentage, it's a burden for the consumer. So it's bad. Now, you have, but the government has to collect this bad thing from the consumer. Government has to impose tax on the consumer, no? Otherwise this is the one of the major sources of the tax of their revenue, so they have to collect the tax. So how you can minimize the burden? First thing is how you can minimize the burden, as it is bad for the consumer. So how you can minimize this bad? Okay, so this is the first thing. And second thing, obviously your revenue should be there. You are going to minimize the burden, and this is how ultimately end of the day your revenue is close to zero. That should not be. So there should be a, you know, optimality. Okay, and at the same time it must be helpful for the economic growth. Other basic objective of any activity by the government is to develop the economy. So government should not do anything which will disturb the development. So that is another objective behind the taxation. So the very first introduction about the canons of taxation is given by the Adam Smith. Okay, so according to the Adam Smith, any tax structure should have this property: equality, certainty, economy, and convenience. Okay, so we are going to explain one by one. The first one is the canons of equality. Equality means, look, equality doesn't mean that everyone should have 100 rupees income at the end of each day. Who is more productive, who is not at all productive, everyone should have 100. So this is equality. No, this is not the equality. Equality means the wealth of the economy should be distributed according to the justice. Okay, this is very important. Who is more productive, somehow he has some skill or anything. If he is more productive, he should get more. And who cannot work should get less. On the other hand, if there is some physically disabled individual, so he should also get something. Okay, so this is the thing, actually you can say, according to the justice. The wealth or income should be distributed according to the that will be according to the justice. Okay, so this is the first one, that is the canon of equality. So the tax should be like this: everyone should get according to the justice. Is not like that you are as we are we used to tell that na, yeah, the person is earning a lot because he is productive, he has some sophisticated skill, some special skill, and as he is earning a lot, you are imposing a lot of income tax on him. So at the end of the day, a huge percentage of his tax is going to the government. A huge percentage of his income is going as tax to the government, and that may not be good. So this is not according to, this is not the justice. So tax should be like that. Everyone can understand, everyone can realize that okay, whatever I am doing, whatever I am giving as a tax, whatever I am earning after paying the tax, this there is a justice behind that. Okay. So this is the first thing, canon of equality. The second one is canon of certainty. Look, if it is like that, sometimes any type of some types of tax are creating some confusion among the consumer. So consumers are confused that why today I am paying say 5% tax, and tomorrow when I am going to purchase the same commodity by the same amount, I have to pay say, 7% tax. Why? The first thing. The second thing is in say in West Bengal the tax is 6%. In say in Karnataka the tax is 10%. Why? So this type of this type of lack of clarifications are there. So certainty is discussing all about this. Okay, the certainty is telling us that okay, when the tax is imposed, consumers should know when to pay, how much to pay, how to pay, and where to pay. It should be very much clear to all. Yeah, it should be very much clear to all. Otherwise, consumers will be confused. After some time, they may annoyed and they make some unrest, and also it should not. Everything should be very much clear to the consumer as well. And again, with this tax, what will be done by the government? That should also be clear. Okay. So this is canon of certainty. Now the third one is the canon of convenience. Convenience means what? Uh, as I say, the tax is always bad for the consumer, the taxpayer. Huh? They are not happy when they are paying tax, but you have to collect the package of tax collection should be like this. The consumers may or the taxpayers are thinking, okay, it is very much convenient. So it should be there behind the tax structure. Okay. Look, there is an example. The land revenue should best be collected at the harvest time. When people are harvesting, when if you are going to that field, okay, and you are asking them to pay, it is very easier for them. After the harvest time, when everything is done, they have sold their product and everything is done, then you are going to, and they have paid their money actually, then you are going to collect the money. So this is not at all good. This is not a good indicator for the farmer. So this is how, according to the convenience, you should ask the person to pay. Okay. For example, I'm just giving you one example. Is it there? Income tax from the salaried class be collected only when they get their salary from their employees. First of all, is it? Yes. Any structured sector is collecting tax like this. When you are getting the salary, that income tax is deducted, and then after you are getting that disposable income actually. Okay. So this is done. And you know, the tax collection should also be convenient. For example, I'm just giving you one example. Uh, this is not in my time actually. This is when my father used to pay his income tax. You may ask your father or mother may, or your grandparents can be, obviously. If you're asking them now, when how you gave your tax, income tax, it was a tedious job. Everyone has to wait in front of the bamboo villa, some of you know that. So, and waiting with the paper, the form fill up, often the form fill up is wrong, so they make it again and you have to wait. There is a long queue, so it's a, everyone is very much frustrated that why should I do that? It is my income, then why when I'm paying tax, why should I bear so much of burden? But now it is very much easy. You can just open your laptop or desktop in your home, and you can pay the income tax easily. Okay, you can give the, actually payment has been done already, but when you are giving the calculation part, when you are giving the return, it is very much easy. But initially it was not like that. Everything was in hard copy. So anyway, so that was the problem, and government is always trying to solve the problem. The second one is a canon of economy. Canon of economy means, tax collection has also an expenditure. Na? When you are going to collect the tax, there should be some manpower, some equipment must be there, some infrastructure should be there. So everyone has uh, their expenditure, right? So it should be minimized. Okay, it should be minimum. I should say it should be minimum. Otherwise, it may be like this ki you are going to collect 100 rupees by spending 110 rupees. Your total spending may be 110 rupees and you are earning only 100 rupees as an income tax or tax. So it should not be like this. So the collection of tax, this is also important, that how you are spending to collect the tax. Other than these three, there are some others. Okay, it is again, it is given partially, it is given by Adam Smith, or after Adam Smith, the modern economist, they have also contributed. Okay? So this is something new after Adam Smith. For example, canon of productivity. Canon of productivity, I actually said earlier that when you are taking money from the people, that may discourage them to produce efficiently. Okay, so as again I have to explain the same story. I'm not going to explain it, but the thing is, uh, the tax should not be like that. It will reduce the productivity of the individual. The capacity, productivity, the enthusiasm of the worker, it should not be uh, reduced through the tax imposition. Okay. Now the canon of elasticity. Canon of elasticity means the tax structure should be like this. If the government wants, they can increase or decrease the tax rate or amount of tax revenue very easily. That means the tax structure should be very much elastic in nature. If there is a natural calamity, government can ask the people, the salaried people, to pay a lot of income tax for 1 year. Sometimes it is happened. If there is a natural calamity, state government is asking some additional money from the salaried people other than their income tax. Okay, so it can be possible when the tax is very much elastic in nature. They're very much flexible. You can do that. If it is very much rigid, then you cannot change the tax rate. You cannot increase your revenue and all this. Okay, so the tax structure should be very much elastic or flexible. Canon of diversity. Diversity means when the government is going to earn from tax revenue, the tax should be imposed on several areas. Okay, it should be imposed on several areas. For example, it may possible, just assume one thing, if the tax is imposed on a single government, say only income tax. Government is thinking that, okay, I'm not going to take tax from the people. It's very bad for them. So they're feeling very, very, um, they're very unhappy when they are paying the tax. Okay, fine. So I will collect only the income tax. Okay, that will be my tax revenue. That will be my only tax revenue. But what happened? Uh, if it is a single door like this, so then if it fails somehow, if it fails, then you can understand the revenue will be zero for the government first, and second, there is a high chance that people uh, people um, people is able to customs duty, income tax. So somehow that person has to pay the tax. He may leave income tax. Okay, somehow by false declaration and all that, he is not paying income tax, but he has to pay the sales tax. So from any of these avenues, you can collect the tax from that person. But if it is a single source, then if that person is able to escape from the system, you cannot get money from him. Okay? So the tax should be diversified. Percentage may be small, but it should be diversified. Okay? The canon of simplicity. Canon of simplicity means everyone can understand. It is very easy to calculate. That should be there, and that is what done in India also. No, the India, in the the sales tax initially it was very complex. Now that through GST they are trying to simplify it so that everyone can understand what is the tax. Everyone is informed that what is the tax rate. So like this, it should be. But it is written. Look, it is unfortunate that Indian income tax does not satisfy this canon due to its complications and complexities, with the result that an ordinary taxpayer is not able to understand. Look, it is initially it's like that. Now the situation is a bit improved, not very much improved, but it is improving, we can say. Now the canon of expediency. It's that uh, uh, government has imposed a tax, and just after 1 week or after 1 month everyone is going to criticize it. All of you know, in case of GST it is happened, right? Everyone is criticizing the tax structure. This is the flaw, this is the mistake, this is the wrong thing about the tax structure. So tax should not be like this. It should be flawless. No one can criticize it. Okay? Canon of coordination. Coordination means, tax is collected. There is an income tax department, sales tax department, customs. So these are there. So they should be very much coordinated among themselves. Okay. One sector must have information about the another. Otherwise, there will be a coordination failure, because at the end of the day, they are going to submit all the tax collection to the government. So that is why they should be very much coordinated. Okay, canons of neutrality. Neutrality means this is a problem. The tax should be like this. It may not be like that. The rich individual is getting benefit of the tax structure, and the poor or the deprived section of the society, they are more deprived through the tax structure. So it should be neutral. If it is 6% to 6% for each and every individual of the economy. It's not like that. 10% for this section and 0% for that section, and other than these two, everyone is paying 6%. So it's not like that. Okay, it should be neutral in nature. So these are the canons of taxation. Any question from this part? Do you have any query? No query. Okay. So canon of taxation is done. I think in the class of before 10 or 20 days, Devarati asked me, okay, she said only to share. But anyway, so I have explained the canon of taxation again. If you have any query, you can ask. The next one, the principle. So, okay, everyone can understand what should be the property of that good tax structure. But okay, so say the tax is following this. Government has accepted all those properties, and government is structuring the tax like this. But what is the logic behind the imposition of the tax? How much to be paid? This is very important for the consumer. Okay, how much to be paid? So this is a general question. Okay, is it just a number? The government is thinking, okay, everyone has to pay 100 rupees. Is it like that, or is there any logic behind that? So actually, there is a logic. The logic is actually defined in three approaches. The first one is the benefit approach, the second one is the equal sacrifice approach, and the ability to pay approach. Actually, the ability to pay approach is a part of the equal sacrifice approach. Okay, it's a part of the equal sacrifice approach. Now the benefit approach. The first concept is the benefit approach. Apparently, it's very simple. Now, is there any question? So just tell me one thing. Is it properly visible to all of you, that screen? Can you see my screen properly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because you know the now Google is following that screen customatic sort of presentation that I have seen just now. So that is why I'm asking. So what is the benefit approach? Don't forget about the technicalities. If you can see that, if you can hear me, I'm very much happy. So the benefit approach, what is that? Apparently it's very easy that if you are getting any benefit, you have to pay. If you are getting more benefit, you should pay more. If you are getting less benefit or zero benefit, then you have to pay very little. Okay. So this is the benefit approach. Paid for what? Paid for the public goods. Okay, which is given, which is provided by the government. So this is the benefit approach, and which is actually developed by Marco and Lindell. We have already discussed about the Lindell, but that was something different. It is the tax share, how the tax is shared among the individual. But this is okay. This is somehow related with the benefit approach. So I'm going to the explanation part. Okay, so as I said, there are some commodities which are non-excludable in nature. For example, public good, and there are some commodities which are excludable in nature. So the commodities who are excludable, that is private good. So their price is determined in the market based on our demand, based on their supply. It is determined in the market. So how much to be paid for those excludable good? It is market determined. Okay, but the problem is for the non-excludable good, because the price determination for this non-excludable good is very difficult, because once it is available for all. You cannot exclude anyone. So then, if the situation is like that, and someone is ready, someone is thinking that okay, I will not give the price of that commodity, then how to solve the problem? That is the basic thing about the public finance. How to solve the problem of this free riding. Okay, so here actually that problem is not considered in the benefit approach. Okay, benefit approach is very much idealistic. So the approach is thinking that if you are getting the benefit, you have to pay accordingly. Huh? How much benefit you are achieving, you should pay it. Okay, so the approach is this. Now what is the reality is something different, but it's a type of theory. So the theory is telling people should pay according to the benefit they are getting from the public good. So there is an inherent assumption behind this theory. They are just assuming, the theory is assuming that people are revealing their benefits. Okay, that is why the government can understand, or the economists can understand, that okay, this is the benefit and this is the payment. So whether it is at par or not, so it can be clear, but the reality is not that. So this is the basic problem of the benefit approach. So No, benefit approach is very small. The limitation part is a very large. So the first problem is uh, when you are asking the people to pay, this is the voluntary payment. They just volunteer to pay for the public good. Whether this is the actual benefit or not, they have received, you cannot understand. The second one is it is subjective. Okay, it is subjective, just like utility. It is very much, the benefit is very similar to the utility. Na? So as utility is subjective, benefit is also very much subjective. You may think that, okay, if I have a road in front of my house, it will benefit me. But there may be some people in your locality who are thinking that if a very, what can I say, very busy road is there in front of my house, it will disturb me. Okay, because always there is a sound of the vehicles and everything. So, and pollution is also there. So, it is not good for me. So, it's very much subjective. You cannot say, you cannot say that, okay. And again, those people who are saying that the busy road should not be in front of my house, uh, at some point of their life, they may also think that, okay, if I have a busy road in front of my house, it will be good. So, everything is changing. The benefit is changing over the time, across the nation, across the area, and among the individuals. So that is why that approach is not so realistic. There are so many criticisms, so many limitations are there. Just you can go through it. The basic thing is this. The basic thing is this. Just I'm reading. For example, I'm reading number 5. It has been correctly observed that the number of cases people suffer from the lack of complete knowledge. A particular state service may be of great help to the society, even to the individual taxpayer, but it may not be widely known. Yes, that is also there. That some public good is provided by the government, but general people do not know that. They don't know that, okay, this service is there at least. Okay, how many of your very very local people, if you are asking them that what is the importance of border security force in our life, generally they are thinking, oh, those BSF persons, they are the state government employees, they are earning a lot. What they are doing? They are doing nothing. Generally people are talking like this, but actually the importance of BSF, so you can understand the importance of BSF is very less known by the individual. So there are, so this type of services are there. For example, government, state, any of the central government, any of the developing or developed country, they are launching the satellites. How many people in our locality know the importance of that satellite? What they are saying, generally they are saying a government is wasting money, a lot of money they are wasting for R&D of this thing, and ultimately it's launched, everyone is clapping, okay, fine. So what we are getting? I'm not getting anything from this public good, but actually he's getting a lot from that, but it is not known to them. And as it is not known, they are thinking that, okay, I'm not getting any benefit, then I should not pay for that commodity. Okay, so this has happened for many public goods. The modern economy faces the problem of the economic growth and stabilization. Okay. So these things are there. If you can go through it, I hope all of you have read at least once this thing already. So you know what are the limitation of the benefit approach. So finally, what happened, as people are not bound to reveal their benefit from the public good. First of all, it may possible that they don't know, and the second option may be there that they know, but they are not revealing. They know what benefit they are getting, but there is no rule that you have to reveal your benefit. So they are not just revealing; they're just mm, uh, they're just thinking, okay, okay, I'm not getting any benefit from the public good. So these things are there, na? So that is why the proper tax imposition is quite difficult through this benefit approach, right? And it is very much individual level. For each and every individual, you have to ask what is the benefit you are getting, what is the benefit you are getting, and for each and every individual, you have to charge different tax. So it is quite hectic. It is not realistic at all. It is not realistic at all if you consider the large economy. For each and every individual, separate tax according to their satisfaction. It's something not real. Okay, so these are the problem of the benefit approach. Okay, now I am going to the next part. Okay, so what is the benefit or what is the positive side of the benefit approach? Expenditure and taxations are better. The ability to pay approach, which consider only the taxation. Yes, in case of the ability to pay, which we will discuss after some time. In the ability to pay approach, we are only concerned about the taxation, that how to collect the tax. But here, the expenditure and taxation both are considered in the benefit approach. The second one is the amount of the public service and the distribution of tax share can be simultaneously determined. আচ্ছা, জাস্ট আ মিনিট, হ্যাঁ, আমি একদম পড়াশোনার বাইরে একটা কথা বলে দিচ্ছি তোমাদেরকে। মাঝে মাঝেই বলবো আমি, হ্যাঁ, হয়তো বোরিং লাগবে, কিন্তু শুনো, আমি বাংলাতে বলছি, আবার আমি ইংলিশেও বলবো এটা। বিফোর দ্য, তোমরা একদম লাস্ট সেমিস্টারে তোমাদের এই ভুলটা হবে না, কিন্তু তবুও আমি বলে রাখছি, নোটিশ থাকবে, আমরাও জানাবো, কিন্তু সেই সময়তে তাড়াহুড়োতে যদি কারোর ভুল হয়, প্লিজ লিসেন, পরীক্ষার আগে কিন্তু ইউনিভার্সিটি ফর্ম ফিল আপ করতে হবে। ডোন্ট ফরগেট টু ডু দ্যাট। You have to fill the form. Otherwise, you are not considered as a candidate for the same six exam, whatever exam you are giving. You may have some backlog. So whatever, same 3, same 2, same 4, your G paper, whatever it is, you have to make form fill up. Notice থাকবে, it will be shared. Maybe it will be in the college website, but don't forget to do that. কারণ পরীক্ষার সময় এমনি টেনশন, তোমরা আরো কম্পিটিটিভ এক্সাম দিচ্ছ, তার টেনশন, কিন্তু ফর্ম ফিল আপ করতে ভুলবে না। একটা প্যান্ডামিক, তো একটা প্যান্ডামিক সিচুয়েশন, যদি if you are in the college regularly, if you are going to the college regularly, everything was displayed. You can share with your friends, you can discuss with your friends, you can go to office and ask. Office is guiding it properly. And as university is also not taking the fees, office is not informed at all whether you are applying, whether you have fill up the form or not. That is the problem of the college. So it's your duty. It's your duty to fill up the form in proper time. Okay, otherwise you cannot sit in university exam. Okay, remember it. Fill up the form in proper time. Regularly check college website, regularly check university website. Okay? And your friend circle is always there. Okay, so I'm coming back to the ability approach. And I will inform you after 2 or 3 weeks. আমি এটা বলতেই থাকবো, বিরক্ত লাগলেও শুনতে হবে, যাতে কিনা এই ভুলটা তোমরা না করো।
Ma'am,
Yes. Yes.
that I have not paid hostel fees for the last installment. So that time Allahabad Bank merged into Indian Bank, so their and their IFSC and all changed. So I didn't pay. So there will be no problem in sitting for the exam because I didn't pay the fees.
Okay, you have given the exam and you got your mark sheet.
No, ma'am, for the sixth sem, I have not paid hostel fees for the last installment since the bank changed.
Okay, so you have not deposited your hostel fees, right? That is your question, na? Actually, your sound is cracking.
Yes, ma'am. Last installment I didn't pay for the hostel fees.
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, তো একটা কাজ করো, তুমি না আমাদের প্রিন্সিপাল চেঞ্জ হয়েছেন জানো তো, মানে আগের প্রিন্সিপাল রিটায়ার্ড হয়ে গেছেন, নোটিশে দেখবে এখন অন্য প্রিন্সিপাল সাইন করেন। তো শি ইজ অ্যাকচুয়ালি দ্য টিচার অফ আওয়ার কলেজ, most of you know her. She is Dr. Madhu Manjari Mondal of Botany Department. Okay, she is now our principal. So just do one thing. কারণ কলেজের ফিস দাওনি, এটা কিভাবে কলেজ ডিসিশন নেবে দ্যাট আই ডোন্ট নো। অ্যাকচুয়ালি লাস্ট উইক একটা নোটিশ এসছে, যে যাদের, আমি জাস্ট জানিয়ে রাখছি তোমাদেরকে, নোটিশটা নিশ্চয়ই ওয়েবসাইটে আছে, আমি জানি না তোমরা কতজন জানো, যে যাদের বাড়িতে কোনো কোভিড কেস ছিল, মানে মেবি দ্য স্টুডেন্ট, মেবি দ্য ওয়ার্ড, অর মেবি দ্য প্যারেন্টস অফ আওয়ার ওয়ার্ড, যদি এরকম হয়ে থাকে, তারা ডকুমেন্ট সহ কলেজে অ্যাপ্লাই করবে, তো তাদের ফিস ওয়েভারের জন্য। এটা কলেজ নতুন একটা পলিসি নিয়েছে ফর দিস সেমিস্টার, মানে ফর দিস সেশন, আই শুড সে, নট ফর দিস সেমিস্টার, ফর দিস সেশন। তো এটা তো তোমরা কন্ট্যাক্ট করবে, যদি জানো তো খুব ভালো, যদি না জানো তো জেনে রাখলে। আর another thing is, documentation is very much important, na? You have to submit proper document so that college authority will be convinced with that. And regarding that fees and all, কলেজের টাকা না দিলে কিভাবে তোমাকে থ্রু করবে আমি না জানি না। তুমি একটা কাজ করো, তুমি প্রিন্সিপালকে একটা চিঠি করো, ইমেল করো। তুমি কোথায় থাকছো এখন?
ম্যাম, আমি তো আসানসোলে বাড়ি আমার।
আসানসোলে। তোমার নাম কি?
ম্যাম, সুশোভন।
সুশোভন। আচ্ছা, সুশোভন ব্যানার্জি তুমি?
ইয়েস ম্যাম।
ওকে ওকে। তো তুমি কলেজের প্রিন্সিপালকে একটা চিঠি করো, আর সিসি করো এইচওডি কে, বুঝে গেছো? টু দ্য প্রিন্সিপাল স্কটিশ চার্চ, দেখবে নোট তুমি তো পাবেই আর কি। আর এইচওডি econ@scottishchurch.ac.in, এখানে সিসি করো। আর আমি একবার এইচওডি কে এটা বলে রাখবো যে এরকম একটা আছে ঘটনা, জাস্ট একবার ইনফর্ম করে রাখবো, বাট ফাইনাল ডিসিশন উইল বি টেকেন বাই দ্য কলেজ অথরিটি। হ্যাঁ, তো দেখো কি রেসপন্স করেন। ম্যাম খুব প্রম্পট, নিশ্চয়ই কিছু মানে রেসপন্স করবেন হোপফুলি, দেখা যাক কি হয়। আমি এইচওডি কেও বলে রাখবো, তাহলে এইচওডি এটা নিয়ে প্রিন্সিপালের সঙ্গে সময় মতো কথা বলবেন, ঠিক আছে? যদি যদি আটকায় বা কিছু হয়, কি করতে হবে সেগুলো নিশ্চয়ই উনি বলে দেবেন, ঠিক আছে? আমি জেনে তোমাকে জানাবো, ঠিক আছে? আর ইন দ্য মিন টাইম তুমি চিঠিটা লেখো, ইমেলটা করো, ওকে?
ওকে ম্যাম।
So now the thing is the merit. Um, so that obviously you can understand the benefit approach is relating the preference of the consumer with the provision of the public service. You have just given one public service to the people, it may not be preferred by the people, na? So you can understand whether it is preferred or not through their tax payment status. According to this approach, I'm not telling this is the reality, but according to this approach, you can understand. So this is the thing regarding the benefit approach. So what is the problem? So a lot of problem we have discussed already, na? So the merit is not there, so merit is here. But regarding the demerits, the lot. So I'm not going to read it out again. Huh? So the next one is the equal sacrifice principle and the ability to pay. For this part, I referred Shubroto Ganguly. Okay, one more thing, I have shared all those material in LMS already. Huh? And the last, not the last class, the last week class that I shared also. I will share all the classes. Just give me some time. Huh? Now, this is the next approach, that is the equal sacrifice principle and ability to pay. Actually, ability to pay is a part of this equal sacrifice principle. Now, there are two new concepts are there, the horizontal equality and the vertical equality. Now, what is horizontal equality? Horizontal equality means if there are some individuals who are in the similar position and government is treating them similarly. The similar position in terms of what? It may be in terms of income, in terms of education, in terms of age, in terms of gender, anything. But if they are in a similar position, authority should treat them equally, similarly. This is called horizontal equality. And the vertical equality means just the opposites. If they are in a dissimilar position, they should be treated dissimilarly. I should not say gender, because gender is a very sensitive one. I should not say that. But other than gender, maybe in terms of income, in terms of religion, in terms of the caste and everything. So it should be the vertical equality. It is the vertical equality. If you are in a dissimilar position, then it should be treated dissimilar. So not always in the bad sense. It may be in the good sense as well. Okay. So this is the vertical equality. Now the assumptions of ability to pay. The first or the equal sacrifice. Now the marginal utility of income is cardinally measurable. So I'm going back to that cardinal approach. The second one is marginal utility of income falls with increase in income level. Okay, that means there is a normal law of diminishing marginal utility for income also. The third one is all have same relation between the level of income and the utility, whatever be the income level. Okay, so that means the total utility curve is same for all. You may be a poor, you may be a rich, but the total utility curve with respect to income is same for all the individuals. And the last one, if that relation is not there, for example, the relation between income and the utility, if it is not there, then interpersonal utility comparison is considered. Okay, that means that ordinal approach you can apply. If cardinal fails, then you can go for the ordinal approach, everything with respect to income. Okay, so these are the assumptions of the equal principle. Equal sacrifice principle. This is actually based on the criticism of the benefit approach. You know, benefit approach is very much criticized by Professor Mill. He said that if benefit approach is there, then poor individuals, they of the society, they are very much dependent on the public good. So they are getting a lot of benefit from the public good. On the other hand, the rich section, they are not so much dependent on the public good. Okay, they can um, they can avail the private commodities because they are rich. So if benefit approach is true, then poor individual has to pay most of the tax, right? Because they are getting maximum benefit. And the rich who are not availing public good in that way, so they should not pay. They should pay insignificant tax, right? So this is not the concept of any welfare economy. This is not a rational concept. So this is how Mill criticized benefit approach, and based on that, that equal sacrifice principle is there. So what is equal sacrifice principle? Those concepts, those assumptions we have already explained. Now, equal sacrifice principle means the sacrifice, look, and initially it's very much hazy, I should say. Equal sacrifice means if rich person is paying 10 rupees tax, then the poor person is paying 10 rupees tax. This is equal sacrifice. You can say me, okay, ma'am, this is equal sacrifice. The sacrifice is same, 10 rupees. There is a but. It may possible the income of the poor is 10 rupees. So when you are asking the poor person to pay 10 rupees, then the ultimately that disposable income of the poor is zero. But for the rich individual, the 10 rupees is insignificant. So whether 10 rupees is in his purse or not, It's immaterial. Okay, so if this is not equal sacrifice, then what is equal sacrifice? So in that case, it is said that relative. Okay, so in relative sense, it should be equal. That means uh, after paying the tax, the relative position of the rich and poor should be same. So this may be, so in that sense, there are two approaches: relative absolute principle sacrifice and relative marginal sacrifice. So we are going to discuss one by one. Look at the diagram. The diagram will explain. First of all, just forget about that curved total utility curve. Huh? So it said is not there. We are just assuming marginal utility is constant. And if marginal utility is constant, then total utility curve is a straight line through origin, is an upward sloping straight line through origin. Okay. So this is our total utility curve. There are two individuals in the economy. One is poor, one is rich. So for the poor individual, the initial before paying the tax, okay, the income of the poor is OP and income of the rich is OR. Fine, very much fine. So you can understand before paying the tax, the total utility for rich is AR and the total utility of from income of rich of poor is CP. Okay. Now the tax is collected and say it is the equal absolute sacrifice. So R1R is the amount of money is paid by the rich as a tax. Okay. So what is the tax by the rich? R1R. And what is the tax by the poor? P1P. Okay. R1R is equal to P1P. And R1R plus P1P, that is the total tax revenue of the government. Fine? Okay. Now look, after paying the tax, the rich is getting, this is the total utility of the rich after paying the tax. Then what is the sacrifice of total utility by the rich? If you make a parallel line like this, then AB is the sacrifice of total utility by the rich. And what is the sacrifice by individual? What is the sacrifice by the poor? It is CD. Okay. If it is equal sacrifice, then AB is equal to CD. Okay. That means the total utility sacrifice should be same. So AB is equal to CD. But what happened? But okay, so we are happy that okay, the total in terms of total utility, both individuals have sacrificed same. Okay. But look, now the rich is at R1 and the poor is at P1 income level. Okay, in terms of income level, they are here. So the gap between rich and poor is same as before. Okay, so gap between initially the gap is RP, now the gap is R1 P1, so it's same as before. So as the gap is not reduced through the tax, you can say that this is a regressive tax structure. Okay, it is not making the equality in the society. So you can say, okay, ma'am, you have assumed the constant marginal utility. That is why. Okay, fine. Just relax this assumption. Now the marginal utility of income is diminishing. So we are getting this total utility curve like this. Okay. So what happened? AE again for the rich the thing is same because A is the intersection between that curved and the straight line total utility. Okay, so it's same. But what about the poor? Initially the utility of poor is FP. Okay, okay. Initially that curve is FP, and after paying the tax, the loss or the sacrifice by the poor is FD. So from the diagram, you can understand FD is quite high than AB. Okay? FD is greater than AB. So when the total utility or when the marginal utility of income is diminishing, then it is very much clear that poor is sacrificing a lot if same tax is imposed on him. And if the curvature is increased and increased and increased, that means it is more concave, okay, like this, then that sacrifice of the poor is more and more. So the tax structure is regressive. Okay, so the tax structure is regressive in nature. Up to this point, any problem? Up to this point, do you have any problem? Why you are not asking any question, huh? Where is the problem? Is it like that you don't have any problem? There may be two options. No? The first option is you don't have any problem. And the second one is the total thing is a problem. So you cannot understand from where to ask the question. So these two options are there. Which one is correct? Option 1 or option 2? You can write in the chat box. So after that absolute sacrifice, that ability to pay, and this question is left, I'm not interested to discuss it again because I don't understand whether you can understand this or not. So I will explain in the next class. Actually, I'm taking the class again, just like the initial class. I'm discussing everything here also. So if you miss that class, or if it is not clear in that class, so you can make yourself clear here. But where is the problem from the student side? I want to listen. Okay, let me stop the recording. Then I will ask. I think then you may give the answer.